Here we are, bong bong.
Bong bong.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Bodycast, episode 7. Man, 7 episodes. To think we started this just so recently, and here we are already at episode 7. It's amazing how time flies. What's up? I'm your host, Copasetic, and our other host,
Pathogenic. You're pointing the wrong way, brother.
Oh yeah, it goes this way. All right, there we go. We're still getting used to it. Still getting the hang of this thing. It's only 7 episodes in, So, welcome to the Bodycast, r/rap battles, the official podcast of the subreddit, and of course, r/rap battles is the official subreddit of the international culture of battle rap. You can find us on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and the official Discord server, which is in the links below. It's the only place for fans to go for battle rap news from around the globe, and that is why you are here, because you are the connoisseur of battle rap. You care about the culture internationally. You care about, more than the average casual fan. Am I wrong?
One would say the cream of the crop.
Really, the best fans, and smart people. I would say definitely these are the smarter people. If you're watching this show, I know
that they don't just hand out Mensa applications, but I'm pretty sure every person watching has one. Isn't that
that's true? Yeah, it's a really weird coincidence that that's what happens, but it's totally true. What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you. Definitely the smartest people in the culture watch this. And a weird Venn diagram of the smartest people and the most attractive people. These people.
Crazy.
Yeah, there we go. And what's up? Hey, Kai's here. Kai, we're going to talk about your battle, obviously. You did great. And yeah, what do we need to start other than shall we do the cheers?
Yeah, I think we might as well.
So you grab your coffee, your water, your enemy's tears, and join us now for the community cheers. Oh, it cheers just makes everything better,
So does that multi. That was.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just a better show when you have the cheers. People who don't have the cheers, you're missing out. You're not going to have as much fun on the show.
It literally has cheer in the name, so you have to.
It's really self-explanatory. That's a good point. Yes. Okay. And hey, what A1's showed up. Hey, nice. I don't like your logo, but appreciate rolling through.
Good,
bang bang. Well, big show today. Obviously, there was a lot that happened in the culture, and there's lots to talk about. But where do we start? I actually really wanted to start with just judging in general and how battles are perceived, because I think that there's a lot that goes on here that would be valuable we can offer to fans and battlers alike in terms of what you're looking for in a battle and how that all goes down. So I think that we'll set this up. I just had a battle last weekend, which was lots of fun. I love battling. And there's obviously mixed reviews as to what happened in the battle and how that goes down. And, as per most battles, I think there's there's obviously a lot of ego. There's a lot of emotion involved. People are tied to their perception of themselves and their art in a way that's really dangerous and can be it can be very delicate, and the battle rap world is not very sensitive to that. And I think that is just, a given. What's up? Hey, it's Lil Bucket. Yeah, good shit, man. You did great too. And thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk about that. And I think that, when I think about perception and bias and things like that, everybody's looking for the unbiased judgment. Oh, hey, I can judge this battle because I'm not biased. And the truth is, how the brain works is that everybody is biased. Everybody is biased in some way to some style or their life experience that has helped them develop to a point where they perceive things differently, and we all perceive things differently. So you're going to have battles which are, they have clear winners, and by that, it just means that the majority of people who watched it felt the same way about it. There is no winner or loser because it's a subjective art form. There, you can't have a concrete W or an L. All you can have is people's interpretations, and usually that's enough. And really, if you can separate those things in your mind as a battler, I think that's really important, because you want to improve and you want to get more of the audience on your side than your opponent. That's the goal. But at the end of the day, you're doing your art and you're finding ways to connect. And if you don't connect with specific people or the right people, maybe there's nothing you can do about that. So I think I'm just speaking around shit. What are your thoughts on that? Just perception in general.
When it comes to watching a battle, it's really difficult to find the proper person to get judgment from something, because, like you were saying, everybody does have a little bit of biasness. And if you don't have any biasness, then you aren't in tune with the culture enough to have formulated it. And then you get ragged on for not being a part of the culture. So you don't know anything. So how can you say who won if you're not a part of it? But by being a part of it, you create your own bias and what you prefer. And that happens all the time. And it happens with fans. Like, you can pack a room with people who don't know who you or I are as a battler, but if they like our style more than our opponents, then they're all biased towards it. And then you get a battle that happens where you have an entire crowd of people that are only cheering for what they like, which is one person. And that can make the entire room feel like, wow, this is a pretty one-sided battle, and the other guy didn't say anything that I liked, so he was bad.
If we can bring this into reality and a real life example, I'll talk about what happened in KOTD S1 with probably the most controversial battle of the season, which was Rosenberg Raw versus City Towers. And we caught a lot of flack for Mike G's judgment of that, because he gave it to City Towers when the majority of people felt like Rosenberg Raw won. And, they're creating in their mind all these justifications. Well, Mike G, he's from iBattle, so, he's obviously going to cheer for the iBattle guy, or, he's not in tune with the culture enough that he could judge Rosenberg Raw, or he's got a beef with Rosenberg Raw. And what happens is, when we see things like battles and we interpret data, it's not a matter of looking at what happened and then deciding how we feel about it. That's not how the human brain works. The human brain works like it's there to protect you and protect your ego. So whatever you're feeling, you will have confirmation bias, and your brain will pick out the facts that support that. And I think that's a really important tenet of understanding how battles work. And if you don't understand that, then you're going to be at odds with a lot of people, and you're going to think that they're idiots. You're going to think just straight up and down, these people are dumb because they don't see it the same way I do. So I obviously had many heated discussions with Lush One and Organic, specifically about this battle and defending Mike's judgment, because when Mike explained to me what happened, it made perfect sense to me. He judged the battle that in his way, through his experience and his bias. And there was no, oh, I hate Rosenberg Raw. There was no, oh, I'm an iBattle battler. All of those things were fictitious. But the way that he explained himself, you think he's just got a different perspective. And when you consider how subjective this art form is, there's not a wrong judgment. There is only an interpretation. And that's why we have so many judges, is because we're trying to spread it out as much as possible, so that if one judge has a completely different interpretation than the others, then he doesn't overthrow the ruling. He doesn't impact it as much. And that was the strength of the judging system and how that worked. And so, I think that if we can all take the perspective of understanding that it's interpretive and subjective, then we can be a little bit more lenient with other people's interpretations of what happened.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that the judging system throughout the season, throughout the tournaments that have been happening across multiple leagues, whether it's for just money that's on the floor, whether it's for money that's being given as a grand prize at the end, the judged battling system really wasn't a part of battling for a very long time. So it's something that everyone's getting back into and kind of has to relearn that that's a thing. When I started battling, I started in smoked out the very first time that I battled. I still battle in smoked out, and all of my first battles were judged because that's how it is. Every battle is judged. Very rarely are there any promo battles, and so it's something that when I got into it, that's just what I got used to. And so, the league owner going around and picking out, you're an acceptable judge and changing it up per battle. And there wasn't, coming to the battlers and saying, here are your judges, here are your judges, and getting that involved in your head. It was just one of those things that's how it is. And you win some and you lose some, just like real life. That's kind of the way things are. And being able to sit there and go, okay, I lost a judge's decision. What can I do to make myself better, instead of going, I lost, but I did win.
Right. Which is always the tension. I think there's always a tension because you want to take the L with grace, and you want to understand that, hey, the majority of people didn't appreciate what I was doing, but at the same time, you have to be, you have to take that with a grain of salt as well. I did the same thing. When I was coming up through GZ, all the GZ battles were judged, and I made a point of that because I wanted to. I went on my losing streak, the infamous losing streak, where I lost like I think 10 or 11 battles in a row, and what people don't know is I was sabotaging myself for a lot of those battles on purpose as a means of communicating a point to these up and coming battlers that, hey, judged losses don't really. That doesn't have to be who you are. I was losing all my battles and headlining cards. Like
Yep.
it's most important to be secure in yourself as an artist and focus on entertaining the crowd. But on the flip side, obviously, winning competitive battles and winning judgments is a great way to sharpen that skill and hone that skill. So there's definitely two sides to it.
100%. And there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. It doesn't just take into account what your actual material is, because what you can have for one battle in one room with judges might win in another room with different judges.
100%.
And so there's a lot of strategy that goes into, as a battler, not only getting your material to a point that you're comfortable with, but also understanding the room that you're going to be in, the people who are going to be watching,
yes,
and what you need to say to make them think you won.
Right.
And so it adds a completely different layer to the competition, in my opinion. And that's what separates, goods and greats when it comes to winning battles that are judged.
It's so funny you mentioned that. Is exactly what I was talking to Ellipsis about on the way home, because we were talking about how some styles are just not going to be conducive to specific crowds. For example, the event that we had last night, it was really great. It was a great event, great vibes the whole way. And having that crowd be supportive and ready to enjoy themselves is huge. And I was very prepared to deliver that material to them. But also we were at the end of the night, and I knew that some of the people who come before brought a lot of people. And if they leave, our crowd is going to be a little bit smaller. And I said, hey, do you want to switch things around? Because we want to make sure that, we have a lot of people for our battle. And, the battlers before us was like, no, please, we don't want to go last. And I'm like, okay, fine. We can go last. It's not a big deal. It's,
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but like, I'm happy to help out. I'm here for the culture. I'm not here to fucking get wins or whatever it is. But yeah, by the time that our battle happened, there was like a lot of the crowd had left. And in that situation, some styles are going to work better than others. And I'm not sitting here like trying to make excuses for what happened, because I think I did well, but definitely my style is predicated on having a larger audience because it's really humor based, and the infectiousness of laughter really helps for people who are more comedy oriented. I think that, that's happened for me in Toronto versus Michigan, and in other places. We know that having a bigger crowd, it's more conducive to more jokey guys. And so like when we and Ellipsis were talking about how, guys like Charlie Clips can walk into any room assess the situation. And because their strength is freestyle, their strength is being in the moment, they can adjust to that style. And that's huge. That's an enormous superpower, because you have guys like Soul, for example, or guys like maybe Lou Cipher, who are extremely technical and extremely brilliant writers, who will go into that same situation and they're stuck. They have their material. This is what they're planning to do. There's no real room for adapting to the environment as much as there is with Charlie Clips and that more freestyle style. But yeah, definitely, I think the environment is huge. It's a huge factor.
And the other thing about a guy like Clips too, which is really impressive, is that he has taken the idea of having general, understandable material that every single person can relate to and likes, and take it anywhere, because they're all that sort of people. Where he gets criticized by a lot of battlers for being simple, having 4-bar setups, doing those kinds of things, because that's just not what the rest of us are doing. But the audience is what loves it, and we aren't always the ones who are judging the battles. If you have 2 million views on a Charlie Clips, that's probably grossly low for a Clips battle. But if you got 2 million views for a Clips battle on YouTube, how many of those are from battlers, and how many of those are from people who are just watching it because they're a fan and they enjoy it and they understand everything that Clips is saying? You don't have to be watching Battlerap for 6 or 7 years to get all of the little nuances and all these things that happened X amount of time ago. That's a crazy punch for us because we know it. And Clips just puts it on a plate for you and says, yeah, here's something you get.
Accessibility. I'm glad you said that, because it's totally the point. Accessibility is huge. It's a huge advantage. And knowing what you want to do, I think, we talked about what it takes to really be proficient as a battle rapper, and Ellipsis was talking about how he went to Chicago, and the crowd was maybe not as familiar with him, and so it was a little harder to warm up than it is for a home game, and that's the advantage of going and traveling and stuff like that. But I was shocked, because here's Ellipsis, one of the best writers in battle rap. He has no problem with accessibility. He uses like advanced terminology, and he's incredibly intelligent and clever, but he knows how to make a room react. And he has been doing this for a long time as well. This is almost a decade that he's been doing it. So he's not a novice, but the understanding and the nuance of this art form is so complex and so deep that people really, you can be doing this for 10 years and still really learning a lot all the time. There's so much nuance to it. So that's tough. What was I going to say? That's why for me personally, obviously in the position that I'm in, I'm here to give advice, like I did with Lil Bucket and whoever else asks for advice. I'm very careful with that, because as well, my perspective is only going to come from, my advice is only going to come from my perspective and things that I like. Like I would never tell a battler, hey, you need to be funnier, or hey, you need to have more of this, or you have, I can only say from my perspective, this is what I like that you're doing. I like that you're doing this. And I try to like bolster the things that I like, but within the context of, this is my style, so I'm going to put more emphasis on liking these things. If you talk to somebody else, you're going to get different advice. And it's tough really to be a battler and to gauge what kind of advice is going to be helpful to you and what's not.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing with sparring too, is who you spar with. This has been talked about forever between battlers. If you surround yourself with people that just say, yeah, that's great, that's not going to help you at all whatsoever. If you surround yourself with people, if I'm listening to somebody that's actually sparring and wanting advice on their material, instead of just wanting to practice saying it to a real person, because there's two different kinds of sparring, in my opinion. If you're a week out and you're showing me your rounds, I'm not going to be like, yo,
thank you.
Unless it's absolutely trash and you're going to get fucking booed for it, I'm not going to be like, you need to change that. I'll just say,
Right?
That's
I
very
mean,
young.
that's totally it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's you're waiting until a week out to tell me what you have, that I can't give you any advice that's gonna fix what you have if I think it's wrong.
In
Come to
that
me.
case, what you want to do is bolster their confidence, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I remember, I'm not going to name the name, but I remember a battler came to me a couple days. We were all running our shit, and he came a couple days before the event. And I looked at him at his 3 rounds, and I thought, you are going to lose badly. And I told him, it's fucking great. Kill it. Because in his mind, it's not about whether this material is A, B, or C. It's about whether or not he believes it. And if you believe it, sometimes that's the fucking best you can do.
Yeah.
So
100%. And so if I have somebody that's coming to me a little bit further away from the time that they're actually wanting to battle at, and they are showing me their material and they're wanting advice on what they could do differently, my first thing is, what's your goal? What's your goal with what you have said? Because then they can tell me what their style is. That way I'm not giving them a biased form of, yeah, you need to be punching more. If they tell me that their goal is that I'm a rapper and I want to rap better than him, then if I listen to it and I can listen to it with ears that go, okay, your goal is to rap. Do I think this is good rapping? Yes. Do I think that it's good punching? Might not be the case, but that's not what your goal is. And so if that's what you're wanting the advice on, then I can tailor make what I'm saying to you to try and help.
yeah,
If your
that's
goal
huge.
is to be funny and it's not funny, I can tell you, bro, you got to be funnier.
Yeah,
That joke just isn't hitting the right way.
yeah, that's super tough. And yeah, for real. Yeah, you know what's up. Different sparring partners are going to give you different advice. It's important to just take it all with a grain of salt. I think you really nailed it. So with this battle, I battled a guy named Shine Nine, and I think there was a lot between us before the battle and the promo and stuff like that. But I have no ill will towards Shine. I've booked him many times when I was running the division, and I got a lot of love and respect. I always say that, and I'm always genuine with him. He asked me for my feedback yesterday, and I thought, why do you want my feedback? What the fuck does that matter? But all right, like, okay. I didn't like. I told him what I liked and what I didn't like. I said I didn't like the fact that you talked about having sex with my fiance, because he was like, I've never even met your fiance. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. I mean, like, it's just sort of generic. Like, I understand it's an angle and people use it and it's totally viable, but I personally didn't connect with it because I felt like it was kind of like, this could be said to anyone.
Yep.
As well, some of the other stuff, he was making up stuff about me, and I'm like, yeah, that didn't really resonate with me either. And I said, hey, what I really liked was I thought your focus was really good. I thought your intensity and all this stuff that's really a strong point and really has carried you, I think, for your artistic choices and stuff like that. My personal opinion. And then he got really, I think, upset by that, and he was like posting like, oh, I guess I'm not allowed to talk about girlfriends. I guess I'm not allowed to talk about this. I'm like, whoa. That's not what I said. You asked me for my advice. You asked me for my feedback, and it's biased. And I'm sorry that you didn't like that, but that's sort of like you asked me, right? So anyway, so he's like going in on me now, right? And he's like, you don't you're so pompous, and you so this, you so that, and nobody likes you, and everybody's pretending to be friends with you. I'm like, wow, this guy's just upset. So I like give him a little bit of time, give him a little bit to cool off, and he apologized, and that's cool like that. But it's like, it's so closely tied to who you are. Your art is so closely tied to who you are that when you're in the room, I think we talked about this before, if there's a disparity between reality and how you see yourself, it creates that cognitive dissonance that can be really jarring and can make people react emotionally. And I'm like, man, that's battle rap. If you don't know that by now, this is sort of the culture we're in. You gotta take that in stride. So I hope he's feeling better, and I hope he doesn't take it too hard. I know that there are people out there who definitely feel like he won, and I know that there are people out there who felt like I won, and it's probably going to be a lot along the lines of people who identify with his perspective, and the people who like me are going to identify with my perspective. And I don't take that as, oh man, I lost, or I don't take that as, aha, I definitely won, because those things don't exist.
Yep.
I entertained the people who came to see me.
Yeah. Did they have a good time? Yes. Then the objective was completed, as Smack says.
Thumbs up. Facts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But I think that those are really important lessons, especially for battlers coming up and just learning the ropes and stuff like that. You don't want to be tied too closely to your art, because I know it's very personal, but it's really, it puts you in a position where if somebody criticizes what you did, then it becomes about you as opposed to the thing that you created. Just as a wild tangent, back in the day, and I'm saying back in the day, like in the 1600s, there was a dissociation, and what artists were known to have is these things called demons, basically daemons. You know, where the E and the A are sort of attached together, and it was a creative spirit that was with you while you did your art or whatever. So when somebody was really successful, they would say, "Oh man, that guy's demon is killing it right now." And it wasn't until the French Revolution, I think, that sort of they became one, that it became really a lot about the artist is the art and represents the art. And before that, I think people were a lot healthier. You know, you couldn't take credit for your art. You'd be like, oh, you know, well, my demon was blessed me with, you know, these impulses and these ideas, and I was just the conduit. And now it's like, no, it's me. I'm a fucking genius. And if I do really well, it's because I'm fucking great. And if I do really poorly, fuck you, we're gonna fight. So yeah, I think those concepts are important to be aware of when you're a battler, because it's deeply personal art. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And I preface any time that somebody is wanting to spar with me now, I tell them first and foremost that if your goal is for me to criticize you, I am going to be brutally honest, and you need to prepare yourself for that. And that's almost what you need to do at this point in time, because I know what it's like to have that where you're telling somebody that's not very good, and they're like, you're not very good.
Yeah, right. I try to do it as softly as possible, always.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think these are important tenets for battlers to understand, to dissociate from their art, and make sure that that we're all here to learn the craft and get better and entertain people and grow, and really that's the goal. I mean, the winning and losing is so silly and so subjective to focus on that. I think what happened with the event last weekend is we had a bunch of people who really love each other, and just great vibes. We came together, saw each other, entertained, you know, shared a laugh, a conversation, made new friends. And it's just like, this is the shit. This is what we got to focus on, because this is what grows the community. This is what makes events enjoyable. It's not worrying about who's winning or who's losing. It's focusing on the strength and the health of the community, creating these spaces for young artists to come in and feel loved and feel like they're a part of something bigger. And, you know, I mean, that's really the goal for any successful organization. I think that's what they do at iBattle. I think that's, if you ask Lex Luthor, that's the secret to how iBattle works, is you've got people there who are very supportive, and there's a great vibe inside the culture. And that's really what you want to foster. We don't care if we foster a bunch of fucking killers. We care that we're going to have a good time every time we go to the events.
100%.
Which wasn't always the case. So we should really be, you know, I don't know. We should really be put our priorities in order. We definitely used to have a bunch of killers who would fight each other at every event. And that's not good for ticket sales. Surprisingly.
Things have evolved in the right way.
Right. So, you know, put the value where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's right. Shout out Knucklehead. He's watching right now. Oh shit. Yo, that is a cool icon, Knucklehead. Whoever created that logo for you, probably their demon is very talented. but yeah, we are all in this together, and it's really beautiful when we can come together and be a community like that. But yeah, okay, so that was a lot. Uh, we should get into the show.
All right.
But yeah, what happened this week? Man, it was a crazy week. We had a title match from BeastMode,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of drops from the UK, and man, there's some announcements as well. The RBE event happened on Saturday. What's going on here? He just announced the card and then it happened,
and then did it.
Amazing. Oh
and
God.
And the crazy thing about it was the dichotomy between Midnight Madness happening the day before, ending at 5 a.m. with 4 battles, and then the RBE card happening the next day, ending at 4 p.m. with 17 battles happening. That's crazy.
It's just really crazy. ARP is a genius. I have, I will always say this. I've got nothing but respect and admiration, for the way that ARP handles himself. I think he's one of the best people in battle rap culture, and I fuck with RBE heavily. So cool to see him sort of like, I don't know, test out this format and really sort of push the envelope inside the culture. I think that's fucking so cool.
100%. And a great testament to how good of a dude he is and how much he does appreciate the culture was around April 1st, obviously April Fool's Day, when there was pictures going around of Twerk versus Miss Hustle that was going to be on RBE, which was happening at the time when Twerk was getting pushed, almost air quotations, out of URL, and everyone was super confused. And what did ARP do? He shared it too.
So funny.
And so he made it seem like it was actually a thing, and it wasn't until later that he was like, don't say that I'm not a funny guy who likes to play along with whatever. Like, it was a good time. It was a good joke.
He could have reacted very poorly to that and would have been 100%. Well within his rights.
100%.
But yeah, he's made of tougher stuff, and that's very cool. This event, I've only heard obviously about the RBE, the Ill Will and Rosenberg Raw battle. I should have had this up because that was the one that got the most attention, obviously.
Yes.
But I didn't hear anything about Big K and Reed Dollars and so much of the. Did you hear anything about what happened in these battles?
I also heard the Rosenberg stuff. I heard that, again, this is also coming from Jims himself, so you take that into account based on, but he said he won and he had a great showing. So whether or not, again, the bias is going to lead you to believe that or not. And then I heard that Big K, they were trying to almost paint a narrative that he was reading off of his phone, but I think a lot of people were saying that was a thing about Reed, because he was battling Reed Dollars, and so he was making some angle about reading while he was battling Reed. I don't know. That'll have to be a wait and see thing.
Which could go off, honestly. I mean, having that sort of controversy around a battle is going to make people want to tune in. Oh, what did Big K do?
Yeah.
But he's always fire. I don't think there's any issue with that. I wouldn't bet on it. If I had to bet on it, I wouldn't bet on it. I think Rosenberg beating Ill Will is unexpected for sure for a lot of people.
Rosenberg beating Ill Will is unexpected. Rosenberg 30ing Ill Will in the body of the year, as lots of people were saying, it is unbelievably
really body of the year, really.
That's what I saw. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I think Rosenberg too, his last few battles, he's in a pocket. He's really found a groove. I think as well with the KOTD season 1 stuff. I felt like he was just exhibiting a lot of his veteran experience and comfortability in the ring, as well as his writing. His writing feels very comfortable. Feels like he's really on it right now. So
this was the perfect time for him to battle Ill Will, because it was, you don't want to say in his prime, but it was definitely it's in his sweet zone right now where he's like feeling like he's got his great material, stringing together some wins against big competition. Whereas if he takes this battle with Will maybe a year ago, it doesn't end up that way. But it's
Right.
like he really found himself again and killing it.
The timing is everything. And, you know, before we go any further too, I think that's another thing that's really important to touch on, just because we're talking about the actual battlers and feelings and perspectives and how it is to judge things, it's really important and smart to understand that there is no fixed value for a battler. And I think a lot of people they get distracted by that. This battler is this good. This is his ceiling. This is his floor. And this battler is just that much better. This is his ceiling. Everybody can have a down battle. Everybody can have an amazing battle. It's important not to associate somebody's one performance with with who they are as a person, right? Because the art is separate and everybody's changing and evolving, and you never know how good somebody can be in a year or how much they can fall from grace. So we say, you know, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we talked about it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before too, where sometimes the opponent clicks with you, whether it's an idea or a concept or an angle that only you can think of for that person that no one else has, where I might have a very shitty performance against somebody, you know, a week ago, but 2 months from now, I'm locked against a guy that I know for a fact I am bringing my best stuff for, because I'm going to say something that no one else has. And that's one of those things that people don't really expect either. And it's prominent in all levels of battlers, from pros to beginners.
Yep. And in sports and in everything we do, it's you are this, and it's just not the case. It's respect the artist, respect the performer, respect the athlete, respect them, and understand the performance is something different, and take that on its own. You can say, you know, oh, I don't think you had a good performance. I don't think you did this. Fine, but let's not put this on the battlers for who they are. It's really an evolution, always a journey. Somebody that you may not like, you know, 2 years ago may find a rhythm or a style that really resonates with you later. It's important to be open to that, because everybody changes and everybody grows. So speaking of Big K, he battled Jay the Nightwing on Wrap Off last weekend.
Yes.
And so this is 2 battles, like Kai was saying, back-to-back weekends for him. Did you see Big K versus Jay?
I did. Yeah, I did.
What did you think
awesome. Really awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, Big K is a very unique battler. He's got some of the best defense of any battler that I've seen. But it was really cool to see him battle Jay, because he was actually vibing with some of the stuff that Jay said. Normally, Big K is like, yo, that was garbage. That was trash. He'll just outright tell you while you're saying it, like, that was not good.
That's great.
But he was actually vibing with what Jay was saying, which is, you know, it's relevant, because Jay was saying some crazy stuff that I had never heard anyone say to Big K before. So it was unique. And it was a great battle. I still had Big K winning, I think, every round. Jay had some stumbles that, you know, take away. He didn't necessarily choke, but they took away from the overall cleanliness of his performance.
How was the vibe? Because I feel like that's a lot of really good people in one place.
Vibe looked awesome. Looked like it was a lot of fun to be at the Wrap Off event.
Cool. Shouts out to Wrap Off, and congratulations on their first event. That's not easy to do. I think a lot of people underrate how hard it is to be a promoter for battle rap and to create that environment. I know that when I was throwing events, a lot of the time I was too concerned with how the event was going to really enjoy myself, and that translated to the battlers and the audience and stuff like that, and sort of fucked with the mood. So, you know, when you're having a good time, you're around people who are comfortable and calm and understand how events go, it can really contribute to the quality of the battles. So shouts out to them. They're really, I don't know, they kicked off with a really impressive card, and shouts out to all those battlers. What else? I want to say, let's go to the UK before we get back to Canada. A number of drops from both Premier Battles and I'm going to say No Loose Chat. No Loose Chat dropped Tech versus Mizzy Mac. And man, I thought that was a great battle. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was great as well. I hadn't really watched all too much of either to necessarily have an opinion formed on them. Sure. I was impressed by them battling one another. I really enjoyed it.
And again, you know, it's the environment and the crowd seem really receptive to them and their styles. I thought, you know, Tech had some haymakers. They both had great haymakers and got the crowd really hype. Yep. I think they're very similar, actually, in style and performance and projection. And just seems like a really good match. Just like there's no one over the other. I really liked both of them.
Yeah, I thought it was very even. That was a great matchmaking call to make a competitive battle with two guys that do the same thing at the same level almost. So.
Yeah, super cool. Bunch of dope lines in there. Definitely check out No Loose Chat. Subscribe to their channel. They've got a bunch of stuff going on, and they've been doing a lot of work in the UK, and it's cool developing their own scene, their own style. It's super dope. As well was Giz versus Subrime. Now that's a Premier Battles from the Undisclosed. Thank you. Yes, event, which is like a sort of fun style of event. It's a very relaxed, more development-esque. I wouldn't say it's a development card, but I always feel like I'm boring you. Yeah, Giz, you know, he's I think he's No Loose Chat, but he does a lot of work with Premier as well. He's an experienced guy, really good guy. I like to watch him. And Subrime is from Ireland, from more of the Rap is Full League stuff, and a very cool guy. Also similar to like their champ Hades, in that he's a rapper and he comes with that style into the ring. What did you think of that match?
I liked it. I thought that it took me a little bit to get into Giz, because I had to really adapt almost my listening to be able to catch what he was saying, because he's very fast with the way that he raps, and he's getting to his point very quickly. And so I had to almost focus instead of playing it in the background and being like, yeah, I can just listen and absorb it. I had to really focus and be like, okay, I need to watch so that I understand what's happening. But I thought it was a great battle, and I think that it hit the mark on, you know, what Undisclosed was looking for. You know, taking those lower level guys and giving them an opportunity to bump up.
Yeah, shouts out to Pathogenic for fucking paying attention to UK. You could understand, you if you're scared of listening to UK hip hop and UK battle rap because you don't know what they're saying, you just gotta like focus. Really, it's still English.
Yes, it is.
But it does take a little bit more focus. So shouts out to you for putting that in. And then I just watched Graza versus Max Sherry, which just dropped on the Premier Battles channel. Go check them out. And I thought that was a lot of fun. It seemed like really a good vibe. What do you think?
Yeah, that was a typical UK battle to me. That was both guys that are, you know, taking their funny angles and doing it well, and the crowd being able to laugh at both of them instead of just laughing at one of the guys' jokes. I thought it was really good. And especially, you know, for Mac being able to do that against Graza, who is coming off of winning the last Academy, I think that's a really big look for him in that regard. So
yeah, and Graza, you know, he's on Don't Flop, he's in Academy, he's getting around, and his style is very accessible in that way that we were talking about with the audience and the comedy, because he leans into that, and his projection is really great. That sort of roasting battler. You need a big crowd for it, but he leans into that, and it's some of the shit he was saying. He said he was talking about Max Sherry doing the boxing match, and he's like, two men who regularly forget what they're supposed to have said are going to exchange blows to the head.
Hilarious.
It was just just playing off of that that style and that audience is just, they just eat it up over there, and it's like it's so entertaining to watch, because like bars and stuff like that, I love wordplay, I love bars, I love technical rapping, but the art of the roast is a rarity, and it's really
It
cool
really
to see
is.
it. Yeah.
And it can propel you to higher levels too. I mean, Pat Stay is he the GOAT of it? I mean, you might as well consider him the greatest of all time when it comes to the ability to roast his opponent and win a battle by
Mhm.
just convincing you that everything he says is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, it's roasting is a skill. I mean, I think O'Shea is really good at that
Oh,
too. And even, I mean, I want to say Clips to an extent, the more charismatic you are, the more
yes.
people are going to identify with you and your perspective, and the more that you can shift that perspective to make fun of somebody, and they'll be on board with it.
Yep.
But yeah, uh, great battle, very fun to watch. Definitely check out Premier Battles and subscribe to them, and like that shit. But we got like 15 minutes left. What's up, Big Dubs? What's up, G?
Good, does.
Let's get into it. Title match, the Beast Mode title match, which is Skrilla. I think he's had it for 2 defenses, or I don't know how
This
many
was
defenses.
his second defense.
Oh, okay. So his
I
first
want to
defense
say.
was against Yasmin.
I think that it was. I think
Okay.
there might be some Beast
Um,
Mode guys that are still in here that'll be able to correct me, but I think that
really,
was.
come on, Beast Mode, show what's up. And man, what a match! Like, this was a great competitive title match, and there
Yep.
was um, no like slips or stumbles or chokes. There's two guys just going at it with the best material they had, hard hitting angles, punches, rapping. Um, Man, I don't know. What did you think? What was your first thoughts, your first impressions?
Two very different styles. That was my first impression. It was a very big style clash, but
Hmm.
not in sort of a way that you can look at it and be like, okay, that guy's outmatched because his style is just not up to par. A1 is an incredible writer. I would say, upper echelon when it comes to being able to string rhyming sounding words together, whether it's Maltese or little internals or ABBA type stuff that he does. He's a wizard with his ability to write. And you're not going to see Skrilla do that. Skrilla's not going to
Right.
come at you with the most technical writing that there has ever been. He's going to come at you with, you know, this is the punch. It's funny. You suck. And that
Very
worked.
effective.
It's very effective, right? And the cool thing about the Beast One title match was that the crowd fucked with both, right? Being able to see them back to back and say like, I'm reacting to Skrilla because that stuff that he's doing is funny and I like it and it's easy for me to grasp. And then, reacting to A1 because he's writing, the craziest 30 seconds of stuff that you've seen written before. It was really cool to be able to see that. It was
Yeah.
actually tough for me to call who was going to win it by the end. I had known that A1 had won it before because I'd seen a picture of him with the belt. But after watching it, if you'd never seen that before and you were just watching the battle, I think it was actually close.
It was close. Definitely a close match. I like a lot of Skrilla's material. I've liked him for a while. I actually like really feel like he's one of those sort of hidden gems. Um, I don't know how much airtime he got on GZ or what his situation was then, but like we said, everybody's got a journey, and what he's bringing to the table is very much like what I like. It's punchy, but there's a lot of humor, and he's very roast oriented, which is dope. And like you said, A1 is his multi game is that's really where his focus is, and he's very proficient at it. I thought, yeah,
Yep.
his first round was crazy good.
Yep.
He was just laser focused, and yeah, a close battle. I don't know. I couldn't call it round by round, but yeah.
Something else that's really important to consider too when it comes to title matches is also how into it both battlers are, because a lot of the times what you'll end up seeing is you become the champ, you're defending your title for X amount of time. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yes.
This battle, maybe I didn't put my all in, and I'm not saying that Skrilla didn't put his all in, but it was obvious because he did have something that he was saying, I'm just doing this before I, call it quits. Once you have the title, you're obligated to have to defend it. That's
You're
one of the
almost
things.
fighting a subconscious desire to sabotage yourself. And
100%.
and that's wild. Like we'll talk about, Real Deal and his 3 defenses. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, his 3 defenses.
Four,
And like
4 defenses.
I'm
sorry, 3 defenses and 1 offense. Yeah. No,
without a match of 3. So it's this thing like I've already accomplished this. If I lose, nobody's going to be mad at me. Yeah. Nobody's going to be mad at me. I can't be mad at myself. There's no shame in losing after holding it for this long. As well, it's really hard. It's to wear the crown, heavy as the head. And all of these psychological factors are going to influence the way that you prepare. You can't help it. I mean, you can try, but that's what makes, I think, a long title run so impressive, because it's really all psychological.
100%. And it goes, again, this also goes from smaller leagues all the way up to pros as well. We saw that Pat ended up having the same thing where he felt like he couldn't go do what he wanted to do while he was holding the title, and he lost to Ilmac in a battle where it was kind of like you could see that he just didn't give a fuck anymore. He was like, whatever, give it up then. I don't care. Yeah. And a lot of the times, the big difference between a title match in comparison to a regular match, especially when it's judged, there are so many outside factors that go into it, whether that is how the champ is feeling at that time, whether he wants to hold it or not, whether he wants to leave or not have the pressure of that, whether it's the challenger being viewed as the favorite and the champ being viewed as the non-favorite, and even the crowd itself and the league that it's for, whether or not they want to see the champ hold it any longer or they want to see something new. All of those play a really big factor into what's happening in the room. We want to see him lose. And so you now have to not only convince the judges that you beat them, you got to convince the crowd because they're already wanting you to lose it.
It's huge. The psychological factors, what's the word I'm looking for? When is X equals, what am I looking for here? Variables. Oof, on it today. The psychological variables, the environment, there's so much that goes into it. I think that's the most important thing to stress, is that there are no bad battlers. There's no objective truth. It's all about interpretation. And when you can take that away, that the art is separate from the battler and that your interpretation of the art isn't reality, it's your interpretation, then we can grow a lot better. We can be kinder to each other. We can help develop the community and in a way that's people feel safe and people feel like their contributions are valued, as opposed to being outcast or taking things personally or taking things really hard. And it's the title match, because everything that Battlerap is about judging and ranking and who's better and this, and it's literally the language of Battlerap is a social hierarchy, and that's what makes it so attractive, is that there are people that feel like they want an opportunity to prove themselves in that ranking, and that's very motivating, and that's how we build the culture. But it's really important to step away from that and understand where its place is in regards to the whole community, because, like you said, so many variables.
Yeah, and so going back to it, I'd say that it was an unbelievably great title match. I think that the views for it alone kind of show that it's the highest viewed BeastMode battle since myself in Revelation, which was a couple years ago. It's done that in like 5 days. It's already at 2,500 views, I think. So
good for them.
It's a great title match, and I think that A1 being the champ is going to do really good things for BeastMode, because a lot of people are going to want to strive to take it from him, and that's what you want in a league to make it competitive, like you were talking about. You want to take out the best, and the best has the belt now. So
Make it happen. Shouts out to BeastMode. They're doing a great job. If you don't know already, find them on YouTube, subscribe, find them on Twitter, check out their Facebook group. A really great community that has existed for a long time. These are people who are a part of Battlerap history. When you talk about leagues that were there for a long time and have been a part of the foundation of Canadian Battlerap, BeastMode 100% in the conversation. So definitely give them a like and a share. I'd love to keep it moving because I fucking spent the whole first half of the show talking about myself. But let's hop over to the UK. Don't Flop released their April Fool's flyer for their card April 30th. I don't know if you took a look at that.
I tried to find it and I could not necessarily find it.
I should have fucking sent you that on Twitter. That's my bad.
It's all good.
One of these days we'll get it figured out. But looks like there's a lot of tryouts. There's I guess the theme is for April Fools is that every battle has some sort of theme to it. There's an idea behind it. So there's a grime clash. There's a drum and bass clash. Alliteration bars, which is Matter is doing a battle versus Mikey C. I don't know Mikey C, but they're doing an alliteration bars battle, which should be fascinating.
Super cool.
Same rhyme scheme battles, rapper producer clashes, loser literally leaves town battle.
That's hilarious.
This is great.
Can you imagine that? After all the stuff that we were talking about, subjectively the judges are like, hey, you have to go. Like, not just out of the venue, you need to leave town.
That's so funny. I love that. It really feels like KOTR vibes. I don't know if that's Don't Flop right now, but I mean, good. It's hilarious. Cusses and Compliments. Matter's doing 2 battles, I guess, one versus Graza as well. World War Hulk, which is a really interesting concept where Hulk, if you don't know from IJC, from Don't Flop, from many things in the UK battle rap scene, he will be battling a 5-round battle against 5 different MCs, which is a cool format. I mean,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I love that they're experimenting and trying shit out. The 2 on 2 same rhyme scheme freestyle battle sees Bowski versus Cannell against and Mr. Tongue Twister. So is jumping in the ring for this one. What a cool vibe to have, somebody of his stature just jump in and be a part of the festivities. So much fun. I think I'm making my way up the card here. There's a defeat bars versus rounds bars battle where I assume one person has only defeat bars and the other person has only round bars. Carlton Shanks versus Impact. 2 good guys. We covered Carlton Shanks' last battle. And then MC Beatboxer 2 on 2, which could be a fucking train wreck. But could be really cool too. Really fun, this experimental shit. Reverse versus Cannell. Reverse we saw versus Carlton Shanks on that last one. That's just an exhibition match. And then the headliner is Mr. Tongue Twister versus Quill, and it's all cartoon bars. So, I mean, they've had success with this format before. It's a sort of, I don't want to say A-hat clickbait type of battle stuff, but they know what they're marketing to their audience. And sometimes that makes it easier to have that before you show somebody fucking URL or RBE, you just jump into the heavy duty battle rap shit that you have to know a lot about. We're going to have a fun cartoon bars battle, Yeah.
And that's a really good point, because we were just talking last time, because we had covered one of the Don't Flop battles there, about how their audience has changed to almost more of the university crowd. And this whole event seems like something that you when I was in university, if I had seen that on a flyer, are you kidding me? Of course I'm going to see that. It looks like it'd be a great time. And so it's totally marketing to the right group of people to be able to throw something like that, and housing good exhibition battles in the middle as well, so that they now get a taste to come see another event where it's not all fun and April Foolsy.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I think, with all the controversy surrounding I think people maybe overlook the fact that this is his bread and butter. This is how he grew Don't Flop, is by finding ways to appeal to people and become accessible and grow a younger audience that sort of grows into the culture of battle rap. Getting guys at that university level that have sort of come up with it, as opposed to just trying to find the best MCs out of nowhere. I mean, the development is really legit. As we move on, I just wanted to cover Bar Wars was doing an event called Certified. They did it last night. But shouts out to Pod Tier. Shouts out to Ledge. I don't know if you know him from his podcast. Yeah, dope guy. And this is the first card that he's put together. So he's gone from media coverage to promoting. And shouts out to Esmo as well for Bar Wars. Yeah, no, I just think it's great. I love to see people getting behind the curtain and making moves and the culture getting more experience like that. I think that's really dope. And Bar Wars has always been dope for developing talent and getting the community involved. And I've heard good things about the event. Trufo versus Clax Green. Bar Wars is a great channel if you like Detroit hip hop, Detroit battle rap. Lots of great names on there, lots of history. So definitely check them out and subscribe. But yeah, shouts out to Ledge for jumping behind the scenes, because that's really the dirty work that a lot of people don't want to do.
Yes.
Myself included. I'm fucking done. That was the thing that they were like, some people were saying to me, it was like, oh man, people fucking kissing your ass because you book battles. Oh, because you work for KOTD, people just love you. I fucking have no influence on who they book. And I'm not booking anyone anymore because I don't want to do that anymore because of the drama associated with that position. It's brutal, man. Like I can't even begin to imagine Lex Luthor and I mean, ARP handles it extremely well, but Organic as well. Like everybody who's in that position of booking battles, that position of authority, it is a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah.
And I'll never do that shit again. I'm so happy to just be a battler again. So if you're like being my friend because you think I'm gonna do some shit for you in your career, I'm sorry.
The only time booking battles is easy is when XQZ and I go back and forth on Twitter so much that we end up getting a battle booked.
Right? I mean, you think you're having to like ply Organic with your promo, but he's like, oh, thank God, I got a match. It's good. It's good to go.
Right.
Thumbs up.
Right. Perfect.
So yeah, shouts out to you and XQZ. Very excited to see that shit. Very dope to see you on your way back. I mean, like, can you give us an update? How do you feel? How's it been going, your recovery and things like that?
Yeah, I was at my doctor's. I think we talked about that last week there, and I've got 6 more weeks of non-work, and then 3 weeks of light work, and then I'm a regular dude again.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I just have been going to physio for the stuff that didn't necessarily break, but kind of got fucked up in my shoulder and my wrist and my hip. And my range of motion is almost back to 100% where it was before the accident. And even started going to the gym to try and, get cardio going, because that's really important for my lungs, obviously, to be able to breathe doing exercise, as well as my brain, because I'm just coming out of post-concussion protocol from getting, ringed around so hard by the train. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Looking good.
Great news for people who are watching who don't know. Pathogenic exchanged some words, and it ended up getting into a fight with a train. It's not recommended. I don't think I wouldn't. If you can avoid the situation, definitely avoid that. But he took some blows, and we're happy to see him getting back. The train completely destroyed. You just fucked that train up entirely. It was really bad. And rest in peace to the train and its relatives who are also.
That was a 2-1 for sure. It probably got the first round just because that's such a strong opener.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, but The next two, I definitely took. I
Facts.
rebutted it by being dead and then getting revived and coming back to life. So
It's an underrated strategy. It's really Pathogenics' strategist beyond all compare.
Shouts out to Stars Ambulance and the EMTs for actually saving my life and bringing me back to life, though, for real.
Facts. Thank you for staying alive. I appreciate that. It's been really good for the show. I don't think the show would be the same if you had gone the other way with it. But we're fucking around. Yeah, I mean that's basically what happened in the world of international battle rap. I know that we've got a new card that just dropped for Battle Rap Nigeria, which we will cover next week. If you can think of anything else that we've missed, please put it in the comments. If you're running a battle rap league and you need more promo, make sure you're posting on r/rap battles. Make sure you're getting out there, contacting us through our social media and all of the things that we are. That's all we've got for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Get in touch with us. You can follow Pathogenic on pathogenic_GG.
Yes.
Got a Gorillas. And me, Copasetic_ILL, until Twitter decides to allow me to have the defunct Copasetic Twitter address, which would be great. Eventually, I plan to get that sometime. Yeah, we're out there, and we're going to be back next week with another show covering your favorite leagues from around the world. So thanks for tuning in. And did we miss anything?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's it. Okay, thanks very much. As always, we'll catch you next week.
Peace out, everyone.